Here's what the president said in an interview late yesterday with Reuters about the Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou. He said, if I think it's good for the country, if I think it's good for what will be certainly the largest trade deal ever made, which is a very important thing, what's good for national security, I would certainly intervene if I thought it was necessary. So the president there suggesting that he might intervene and somehow soften the legal picture for Meng Wanzhou around this extradition request by the United States. And, under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president is the top law enforcement official in the United States. And so presumably he could do that if he felt it was in the national security interests of the United States to sort of trade Meng Wanzhou for some other concessions in this larger trade war. Interestingly, though, Robert Lighthizer, the U.S. Trade Representative, and other American officials earlier in the week had suggested that the Huawei case was a legal matter and entirely separate from the trade negotiations. Now the president explicitly linking the two, and you have to imagine that the Chinese side will see that as another poker chip on the bargaining table here as they sort of hash out what kind of a deal they can come to by March 1st. The question here is whether there will be support inside the Department of Justice for the president doing that. Presumably, the folks over there would salute and follow orders, but we would have to wait and see what their reaction is and if it triggers any kind of angry leaks or other ways that bureaucrats get back at officials that they disagree with. So it could be a touchy thing for the president to do, but he certainly, it would appear, has the legal authority to do it. And then politically, in the larger trade war, it could be something that helps him get to a deal. But March 1st is rapidly approaching, guys.
This is going to be a game of up and down and back and forth, and it just seems like there's not going to be any clarity to this, Eamon, and maybe not even when we get to that March deadline.
No, and in that Reuters interview yesterday, the president talked about he expects that the Chinese are starting to buy enormous amounts of soybeans again, cranking up that process, which has been so harsh on American soybean farmers because of the trade war this year. Interestingly, I can tell you that there are people inside the White House who don't believe that buying soybeans and spending money in the United States and buying U.S. products generally is enough, right? They believe, some of them, that what's at stake here is, the Chinese government stealing America's technological future by forced technology transfers and corporate espionage of the highest order, and simply stealing America's economic advantage and technological advantage in the world. That's the problem they want to solve. Some of them don't see, the Chinese putting a few more bucks into soybeans as a real solution here. So it may not be that the Chinese have as many political chips to offer as they think they do, at least when it comes to some of the people on the president's team. And the question is, who's he listening to?
Right. The question is, what does the president himself think?
Right. Right. And we don't know the answer to that. The president has never outlined, here's the deal I would take from the Chinese. He's never said specifically what he would agree to. And that's probably good negotiating, right? You don't want to lay out your cards on the table until you get down to it. But we don't really have a good picture of how this is going to end right now.